5 steps to take when setting up your birth or baby business. Welcome to the Birth and Baby Business Show. My name's Liz Stanford and I'm one half of Baba Business, the Birth and Baby Business Academy.
And my name's Anna Lagrange. I'm the other half of Baba Business, which is a community membership for birth and baby business owners. So we are talking about that beginning stage, or as we like to call them at Baba, brave beginners, because we think anybody who starts up a new business is extremely brave, and we absolutely love supporting people at this stage of business. We've been there ourselves a few times.
Definitely,
yes. We just want to share some of our top tips with you.
Yeah, so this is for the people who have just finished their training and they're setting up their business and they're getting ready to really get out there and grow. But it can be really overwhelming, can't it, to think like, what is the first thing that I need to do? What are the steps I need to take? And obviously different training providers for different types of training courses offer, various different levels of support. So we know that some people are going to really have it nailed and some people are going to kind of be muddling through. So, where should we start then, Anna? Where do you think is the best place to start?
Yeah, well, I'll probably call it, it's not boring, but it's the practical side of things. There are some practical side of things that you just have to do, and they need to be done when you start off, because if you don't do them to begin with, then they get left and left and left. So that's going to be things like, well, this isn't boring. Deciding on your business name, it's not boring, but it's very important. I find it's kind of almost like people can get a little bit too stuck on a business name because you want to get it just right. But at the same time, you don't want it to be something that holds you back with your mindset or with moving on to the next stages. So it's important that you kind of get that sorted early on. And choosing a business name can be tricky. I think sometimes we want to get a little bit clever, which can work. But also I think the most important thing is that your name is memorable and unique, and try and stand out as much as you can. And that may not be some of the sort of more clever play on words titles that you might be thinking of.
Yeah, you really want to stand out. Particularly in the birth of baby world, you do see so many businesses with similar names and it can get a little bit confusing. So if it's confusing for like colleagues and people within the same industry, think about how that could be confusing for customers as well. So you don't want to be confused with another business. When I was setting up my first business, it was so long ago that the internet, shall we say, and social media was not what it is right now. And I remember talking to my brother about it, and he said, well, you've got to be within the first few letters of the alphabet because of the Yellow Pages. So, the Yellow Pages was still quite a thing. So I was like, yeah, that is so true. So I went A, B, C, D, E. So I was the 5 first. I was thinking, what could be A? What could be B? What could be C? And in the end, I landed on Enhance Your Birth, which was my first ever business. I can't say I really loved the name, but it didn't bother me at all. And once I decided, I was like, right, that's it. That's the name. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm aiming for. I want people to have an enhanced birth experience, a better birth experience than they would have if they hadn't have chosen to work with me and do hypnobirthing. So that's literally how I came to that conclusion, and that served me quite well, I have to say.
Yeah, well, I actually had an original business name that I didn't even really use. I still have it as my website domain, so that's quite funny. It's not my main one. Mamalia, Mamalia. I think our shared IT guy won't let me get rid of it because he said the SEO is just so good that it would be a mistake. I'd love to just get rid of it because I've never really used it. No one's ever really known me by that name, but he won't let me. So I think the other thing I want to say is don't a name can change and evolve, and that's absolutely fine. So don't feel like you have to get it absolutely perfect, like to start with. It may change, and that's okay. But the reason the name's important is because you want to go and like register with HMRC. You want to sort of obviously start thinking about your branding and your colours and, you know, what you're going to be putting out there on social media. You need to come up with your Instagram handle. So it is important to come up with a name for all those reasons so that you can kind of get started on that. And obviously domain as well. All of these things that you need a name to get going with. So that's why that name is that first step. And I think the other thing I say is that of course you want to get people's opinions and stuff, but sharing a business name with friends can be like sharing your baby names when you're pregnant. Do you know what I mean? People we can take things quite personally. So just like a word of warning there, like don't try not to take it too personally if people are rude about your business name, or, you know, try and go with your own instincts and your own gut on it.
Yeah, try like I remember really trying to get used to saying, "Hi, my name's Liz from Enhance Your Birth," and then when I bought the Calm Birth School, "Hi, my name's Liz from the Calm Birth School," and now, you know, it's as well as the Calm Birth School, it's Baba. "Hi, my name's Liz from Baba Business," and just get used to saying those things and see how it feels. So when you're coming up with those names, like you might look like a bit of a loon, but sit there and say it out loud and make sure it feels good to say it out loud as well. That's probably, you know, I'd have to say that's pretty important, to feel good and proud introducing your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've sort of talked about some of those business basics. And then, the next thing we were going to talk about is mindset, wasn't it? And talking about how, you know, it's time now. You've set up a business and you want to get into that serious, what we call a serious business owner mindset, which doesn't mean you have to be like really boring and grumpy. It just means that this isn't a joke. This isn't a hobby. This isn't something you're just going to try out for, just, you know, because you're bored. This is something that you want to.
Business.
It's not a little business. This is something, even if it is a side hustle at the moment, take it seriously, you know, and that comes down to mindset, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does 100%. I mean, if you set up your business kind of thinking, you know, oh, I'll see where it goes, or, you know, I'll just keep it quiet in case it's not as successful as I want it to be, or, you know, that you're just kind of a bit like, oh, a bit timid about it. Like, put your flag in the sand and say, no, I'm going to go all in on this, and I'm going to achieve the goals that I want to achieve and the type of success that I want to achieve. And go with that mindset, and, you know, it really will stand you in great stead. I mean, again, I remember when I did my training and I was told that this would be a hobby and not to expect to earn any like decent income from it. I mean, I'd already made my investment in the training at that point. I was actually at the training, and you get told that and you think, you know, we were told you're doing it for the love of it. And I was doing it for the love of it, but I also wasn't ashamed that I wanted to make money from it and make it my actual livelihood. So that was a hard kind of mindset to get over, but I did get over it, and I went for it, and I'm really pleased that I did do that. So I think it is really important to take yourself seriously, to take your business seriously. Otherwise, like, nobody else is, are they?
No. So for that, you need to find time for it. So there will be, you know, you need to plan, and we're going to come on to that a bit more in a minute, but you need to be organised. I use childcare, not a full-time childcare, but childcare was part of my business plan because I knew that I had to spend a significant amount of time on it. And that was a choice that I made, that I wanted to prioritise my business. I think my daughter went into childcare like 2 days a week before, like, you know, to start with, so that I could work on my business and growing it. So, I think there's things like that. And also, and then also there's a sort of like working on your mindset, isn't there? Because that is a really important business tool for anybody who's in business, kind of being aware of those little gremlins, those sort of negative thought patterns that can really stop us in our tracks and stop us making the moves we want to make in our business. So part of being a serious business owner is having that sort of practice of working on your mindset, being familiar with, or familiarizing yourself with your thought patterns that may stop you from taking action, that make you procrastinate. That sort of sometimes that victim mentality that we get into around how hard something is, or that we're not cut out for this, and all this kind of stuff that actually are just stories in our head. And it's our job as business owners to work on making sure those things don't stop us. And I don't say that as someone who doesn't have negative mindset towards business. I definitely do sometimes. That definitely happens on a frequent basis. I think that is also part of being a business owner. But the thing is I have tools, I have people to speak to, I have ways that I have learned over the years to help myself overcome that and just go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really do need those core practices to help you elevate your mindset and get out of those like real big funks that we can all find ourselves in. So work out early doors, what are those practices that you're going to do? Like, could it be affirmations? Could it be journaling? Could it be listening to meditations? Could it be going to regular doing a regular yoga practice, getting out in nature? Like, what are those things that you're going to do that are going to really help you and make it part of your day? Like, rather than going, oh, well, if I have time before I pick the kids up from school, or if I have time before I go to bed, I'll do it. No, like, prioritize it, do it first thing, and then it's done. Otherwise, it probably won't get done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something we don't mention very often is about what you surround yourself with, who you surround yourself with. I do a lot of listening to podcasts and people, podcasters just like us, who are helping businesses, who talk about mindset, who talk about manifesting, who talk about things like money blocks and believing yourself, and that having people like that in my ear on a daily basis, actually, if I'm really honest, that makes a big difference to me.
Yeah, me too, definitely. I really find that very powerful thing to do. Absolutely. So the next thing, which of course we love talking about, is thinking about really getting focused with our planning. So starting from the beginning in terms of like your vision, what your mission is, and then your goals and your milestones. So I think sometimes what often happens with smaller businesses is that they skip, if they're going to do some planning, they'll go straight to the goals and go, oh, this is what I want to do. But, back it up a little bit and think about the overall vision, like zoom out from your business, where you are right now, and think about where you want to be in like 10 years time, for example. That freaks people out good and proper. I remember it freaked us out a little bit when we did it not too long ago. I had to talk you down, didn't I? I was like, come on, this is okay, we can do this. And then so maybe 10 years is like a little bit too far ahead. Think about 5 years or 3 years, or like, if you can't do that, 2 years, 12 months.
Yeah,
we just want to get a bigger picture than where you are right now. So where is it you want to get to? What is it you want to achieve? Like, what's the overall aim? And like, think big, because if you can't think or picture or visualize or imagine what it is that you want, you've got no chance of getting to it, But if you actually allow yourself to think outside the box, to think big, then you have got a chance of reaching that vision and achieving that vision. So I'd say that is the first place to start when we're thinking about planning, even though it sounds a little bit woo. My favorite bit.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Really get into the mindset of the reason you will have had a dream when you started your training. It's just as you sort of move through the training and you get closer and closer to the reality of actually having to do something, yourself and motivate yourself and take the uncomfortable actions, then often we sort of like that dream sort of fizzles away, or we try and make it smaller. So I agree, it's such an important part. And then, like Liz said, having that dream and having that goal, and obviously making sure that it's smart, which means it's, very specific and measurable. And when we've done that, then we can sort of work backwards and work out what our milestones will be. So what will be the things, what will be the points on the way to that big goal that's going to let you know that you are on the way to that goal. So let's just do an example, just to tell people what we're thinking about, what we're talking about. Say you are setting up some kind of baby class, and you want a certain number. You've found a venue, or you know how many people you think you could fit in your home. For example, let's say it's 6. And that's your kind of, you would love to run a group every week with six mums and babies, for example. What on the way to that final goal is going to tell you, well, maybe it's having a class with 3 people, having a class with 4 people. Maybe it's that you know that there's certain actions you need to take. For example, having a certain number of inquiries, because not everybody who inquires is going to book with you. So there's all sorts of different ways you can measure along the way to know that you are on your way to that big goal. We're not going to expect you to get to that big goal in your very first course. You're going to build it up slowly. But also there's nothing wrong with having a high goal for your first time when you're starting out. That can make you act and behave differently, which is the key to this kind of goal setting milestone, and then the action steps. It's really it is really, putting it out there, trying to, believing in yourself, and just working towards that big number and taking those different actions that you're going to take if you're going to have 6 people on a course compared to if you're going to have 2 people on a course, for example. So it really pushes you, doesn't it, to do things differently, reach out, mention it more, post about it more, all of those things that we know we do to get clients.
100%, definitely. So then the next thing is like a really big topic. You've got to get involved in marketing, both online and offline as well. If you are teaching in person, or running classes in person in your local community, you have to do in-person marketing. But because of the digital age that we live in, we also need to do online marketing as well. So getting your head around social media, for instance, is, it can feel quite daunting. So don't give yourself too much to do. Like, pick a platform that that your ideal client is going to be on, and use it and get really familiar with it and feel like confident with it. And then you can introduce another social media platform. But what we really want you to take away from this is that, don't spend hours and hours of your very, very precious time creating one post. It's really, really, it's not the best place to spend all of your time when you are just setting up. Yes, we do need a presence. Don't be a perfectionist. Get something up and out there so that people can start to follow you and interact with you. But also get out in your local community, get talking to people, making connections with local businesses who have the same audience as you. Really try going and speaking at different events, or even just having a stall or a stand at different events where you're able to connect with the local community. Is probably going to drive you further forward more quickly than spending all of your time just focused on creating a post here and a post there. At some point, you're going to have to get into a routine of being able to post quickly and easily, and it doesn't have to be 7 days a week, but also being able to liaise with people in your local area.
Yeah, I think it can get really easy to get comparisonitis when we look at some of these big social media accounts that we follow and that we really admire. Yeah. And I think when people come to find you online, they just need the very basics. They need to know what you offer. They want to get to know a little bit about you. So they want to perhaps they're looking at a few different people that offer this. So they want to really get an essence of you and your classes, and and the best way to do that isn't through making pretty posts. It's actually through talking to your camera, whether it's in stories or whether it's on a live or whether it's that it's really that people do want to get to know you, because they're going to be going along with their little baby or with their bump, and that's we work with people at quite an intimate time of their life, so that relationship connection is really important, and social media is brilliant for building that up. And then the other thing they need is just an easy way to book with you. So having a link they can book, and it doesn't have to be anything more complicated than that in the beginning. It's just you want it to be really so people can really find out how to book you. There's nothing more frustrating to me as wanting to buy something and not being able to figure out how on earth I buy it. Or I like somebody, I can't really work out what they're offering right now, what their services are, and I'm looking at their page and I'm like, do they still offer this? Do they not? I don't really know, and it sort of puts me off. I'm probably not going to get on the phone to them. Do you know what I mean? So like make sure it's really clear what you offer. But like Liz said, the most important thing is getting out there. You want to become the person in your local area known for what it is you do. The only way you're going to do that is by doing a lot of talking to a lot of people about the thing that you do. So you just got to become a little bit obsessed with your business, and that is what's really going to grow your business in the early weeks and months and years even. Yeah. And then so the next thing we've got is the last thing, number 5, is this really key, if you like, milestone, this key moment and a goal that you should have and something that you should celebrate, and that is getting your first paying client. So the chances are you've had kind of like case studies or people you've practiced whatever you've been doing with, but that very first paying client that gives you money for your services, that is something to be celebrated, and it should be your first goal that you're working towards. And obviously everything that we've talked about in this podcast episode will be leading you towards that, but we really want you to focus on that first client, celebrate that first client, really, be everything that you should be doing. Every single task should be towards getting your clients into your sessions, into your whatever it is, your classes, the services that you offer. If you're spending a lot of time on something that's not doing you that, then you're probably not spending your precious time on the right thing. So keeping that focus of that first paying client, then the second, then the third, is really going to help you keep on track with where you spend your time whilst you're setting up your business. So I hope you found that helpful.
Yeah, definitely. So if you enjoyed listening to this podcast or watching us on YouTube, then we would love it if you would like and subscribe, or drop a comment, or come over to Instagram and tell us what you thought. Maybe you are an experienced, seasoned birth or baby business professional, and you've got something to add to what we've been saying that will really help people. Please do come and share. We would love to know. But until next time, we will see you soon.
Bye.